Hello.
Back.
Welcome, welcome.
What was that?
What was that? Whoop, whoop.
Oh,
What's
dear.
that?
How are we?
That's what he did.
Okay. Just recovered from the weekend.
We're all back.
No intro. What? What are you on about no intro?
No intro.
Of course there's an intro. What sort of shop do you think we run in here? Jesus Christ. Evening all.
That definitely played, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty
It
certain.
was because I was jigging about to it.
Yeah. Played for us anyway.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi,
I'm
Terry. Hi,
confused,
Digger. Hi,
Mark, by
Pegasus. Lanav Challenge. Ryan, Kenny, Harry, Marky Mark, the Roscoe, Lanav Challenge. I said hello.
Hello.
Ryan, Punish One, Chris Berry. Hello. Daz, Les, Rage. Terry says I'm still aching. Man, I tell you what, that event proper killed me, and I wasn't even running around quite as much as everyone else.
Well, the trouble is where we were, every time you wanted to go anywhere, it was just up a hill. So it was just,
Oh, sorry, I
set
should do
up
it that
to
way.
start
Yeah,
off.
just up a hill.
Yeah.
That wasn't some sort of random salute. That was that way. Still looks bad. All right, just forget that bit.
Yeah, pretty awkward.
Yeah. Let's move
Should
on
be.
quickly.
Oh dear.
A minute and a half
So
in,
how are
dropping
you
Nazi
both?
waves already. Wow.
Oh, that's how we roll.
Absolutely. Just get it all out the way now. Then we can just crack on.
How are you both?
Mm.
Right.
I was very tired Sunday. Oh. almost
Yeah.
hallucinating tired on Sunday. Am I eating lamb? I don't know what's
Well,
happening.
Yeah. Me and Chris, good old Berry, sat at the bottom of the field waiting for Mike
for
and his lot
exfil.
to- yeah, waiting for Mike to finish with all his stuff. Waiting for Kenny. And we sat. Well, I don't think we left till about 11:30.
Well, I toughened up and just stomped it out. Cut the
Oh,
trips. I had to
yeah,
get-
my
mind you, I
ribs
had to get
were
going.
in
I was in a big
Yeah.
rush, so. But yeah, no, all good, all good.
It
We'll
was.
do it
fun.
again now.
There were definitely times. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I got back on the Sunday. I was like, I got back home at probably about 11. I was like, oh, I'll just have a shower. I'll just sit down for 5-10 minutes and just get my bearings, then go get the stuff out of the car, etc. I was asleep until 6. I woke up at like 6 o'clock, and I was like, I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Is it Monday?
Oh, yeah. I to be honest, I was Sunday evening. I was buzzing because I got home and was like unpacking all my kit, and then I kind of sat down, and then that was it. I don't remember anything. And then the missus-
I'm usually really good at getting my
Yeah.
stuff squared away after an event. That stayed in the truck till fucking Monday afternoon. So, nope. No, that's not happening. The only thing I did bring in was like the essentials, the riffs and stuff like that. That all came in the house, but all the rest of the crap stayed out there. I was like, nah. I am not entertaining you. I don't have the energy for you today.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So tonight's show, we're obviously going to be talking about Operation Phoenix and the debrief from that. We're going to be chatting about stag and patrol duties as well. So kind of a mix amount of bits and pieces. So should we start off by rolling into the news?
Yes.
Do some news.
Yeah.
I take my gun and I go pew 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 pew.
News. Is that better?
News.
You can hear me now.
That's quite lovely.
Oh,
That was
excellent.
rather
Yeah.
lovely.
Yes.
So first bit of news, this isn't really news, but it just amused me. So I have a patch board on the wall to my left. My daughter came in earlier and went, "Oh, Daddy, it's you." I was like, "Okay." I looked round. That was the patch, ladies and gentlemen, that she believes that I look like. This is the comic book guy from The Simpsons. I was like, "Thank you very much."
Yeah. Love you.
So call sign Barney. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can be Barney.
Is he not Barney? I thought it was Barney.
No, that was
No, it's
no,
not
it's comic
Barney.
book.
That's comic book guy. That is the comic book guy. That's what he's called.
Ah, yes. I thought the comic book dude had long hair. Oh, he has got long hair. Sorry, I can see the ponytail now. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. if
Poor
anything,
pitch
he might
quality.
have a sort of top knot going on if he was to.
Yeah.
No, maybe if I got a bit of jaundice going on.
Bit of jaundice.
Oh dear! Right,
Could be
anybody
Ralph.
got any news?
Ralph.
Could be Ralph.
Well,
Thanks.
yeah,
Stephen.
of course. We've still got our.
Very soft. Sorry, carry on. I've just distracted.
We've got the dates for our NoFo Mill Sim experience, which is on the 2nd and 3rd of August. We'll be getting some nice, sexy images out there soon. Now Phoenix is out the way, but save the dates, boys and girls. Come along.
Absolutely.
Have some
It's gonna be a blinder.
experiences that you won't get that often. I hope.
Experiences,
hope,
not
anyway.
training. Experiences.
Experiences.
Very important. It's experiences.
Yes. It's an experience.
I think
day.
we might have to get some T-shirts made up that just says "I'm on an experience."
This is I'm experiencing an experience.
Oh dear! I genuinely really look forward to that, and,
Yeah.
and as you-
That's gonna be cool.
I will jump on the marketing stuff and say literally, just need to stop dying from Op Phoenix first. And
Yeah.
then start playing with some
Oh,
imagery.
yes.
Yes.
Yep. And then we're still thinking about doing the tour. I think there's
Mhm.
been a bit of misunderstanding. The tour itself won't be us going around playing at skirmish sites and things like that, or events. We might get out on the field occasionally, but I think it's more of us coming along. I don't know if you've seen our posts of what we set up at Shift Your Riffs 2023. It'll be something like that, more of a meet and greet side of things, but we can go with kit. So yeah, if you've got any recommendations of sites or events that you'd like us to go along to, just drop us a message.
It's a very quirky image as well that we put on the socials.
That's
I really
very
like
cool.
the in the
Yeah.
in the
Even my
landing.
dad said, "Oh, I like that. That's wicked."
Yeah.
AI
Endorsement from Extreme Nigel. So yeah, loving that.
I apologise because I genuinely have no news this week. I only have one little purchase to share. So I don't know if you've got anything, Lance.
I haven't got any purchases, but I do have news of. I'm very proud of myself. So I'd like to take a moment. I did Tekkings all by myself, unsupervised, without a hammer, or what was that? All right.
Sorry, go on.
So lovely Ryan James gave me a CQB outer for my MWS, and I fitted it. I removed the big one and put the small one in, and then put all the other things back on. And I haven't fired it yet, but it looks correct.
It's just like Schrodinger's cat at the moment, in that it may work or it won't work, but until you try it, it's a bit of both.
And nothing
It'll be like
wobbles.
one of
There's
those
no rattly
cartoons.
sounds, and all the parts that came out of it went back in. So there's no spare bits. I think that's probably not important because otherwise it would have gone in really easy. There's none of that. So that's all done. And I did take apart my pistol today, and I don't know what to do with that. So I've just put it
I
back
need an
together as
adult.
best I can. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So yeah. But other than that, I'm very impressed with myself. I did it. Oh,
Well
and I did,
done,
and I
Lance.
modded my MWS mags as well. I carried
what?
out the mod to increase the gas volume by 200%.
Yeah. Nice.
I did it. It's really fucking easy. Unless I've done it wrong, and there's more to it. Of course, there's definitely a possibility.
We've
Hold
actually
all
increased
the
it
gas,
by
but it
5
can't let any
million%.
out. Yeah.
Potentially
now-
fucked
now
all
vented to
9 of my
atmosphere.
magazines.
Yeah, I probably would have done
In the
one
interest
and
of
then
science
tested
and
it.
learning. I don't think you could fuck. If you're trying to learn something, I don't think you can ever fuck up. It's just an extension of learning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
That's what it is.
no, you could fuck it up 9 times. Like, you
No,
could
that's
fuck
just
it up
that's
once.
just 9 extensions of
learn.
learning.
Yeah, it's 9 opportunities to learn from your mistakes.
To achieve learning. Yes, and I think I've done it. I just haven't got enough gas to
You
fill
can
all the
say
mags
just-
up now because there's so much volume in there. I can. No
Yeah.
leaks. No leaks. I did blast a bit in there after each mod, and all quiet on the Western Front. Thank you, sir. So yeah,
Mine are all downstairs on the table at the moment, stripped after the weekend.
very
Giving
nice.
them a
Very
good
nice.
clean.
Good stuff. What I do want to do is
I-
I want the
I
correct
cleaned
method
my
of
2
filling a
pistol
mag
mags.
with gas. How do you, Andy? I want a correct method of putting the gas in the mag. Do you hold the mag up and push the bottle up? Do you push it down? Do you do it sideways?
No, I always have the
Spin
mag
it.
downwards because it's the gas. Although it's gas, it's still a liquid. So if you fill it up, you want to fill the liquid up, so it's downwards. So it's always downwards, or a bit of a jaunty angle. If you
So
yeah.
magazine down.
magazine
Gas
The
down.
liquid
pointing
doesn't come
down.
out, does it? It's the gas that you want to come out.
No, you want the gas.
little-
You want the liquid inside your mag, because then
No,
you
don't.
get
You want the gas inside your mag.
no, because the liquid produces the gas. So the liquid that you get, the small amount of liquid that
I'm
you can
pretty
get
certain
into
it's the gas that you're putting in the mag, not the liquid. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
but
but
I'm
if you
pretty
want to put a
certain
bit
that
of the
the-
if you want to put a bit of the liquid in there, it will produce more gas.
I'm literally getting a headache from both of you. This is far too much.
I was under the impression that they get
Andy
the
is
little
correct.
nozzle.
Andy is correct. Andy is
Fine.
correct. Code red.
Fine.
Whoop whoop. Quick, play a noise. That's not a code red noise. Code red. There it is. That's code red. Come on.
I'm
You
pretty
would
certain
say,
it wasn't.
lads, the ship's going down. Boop, boop, boop.
The reason I mention that is because obviously when you burn your cook set, a little reference to last week's episode, if you'd like to go back, you're not burning the liquid, you're obviously burning the gas.
Burning the
inside,
midnight
which is-
oil.
Yeah, but if you
Evaporating.
fill your magazine up with just gas, you're going to use that gas in there a lot quicker. If you can get some of the liquid into the mag, it will produce gas while in the mag,
I see what you mean. Okay,
so you get a better volume.
That's like a liquid poo. Also gas from that as well. That comes out. Isn't it?
Thanks for the input,
Exactly
Lance.
Exactly the same thing.
And
I'm just
we
trying
were
to find a
going-
comparison. Liquid in,
and-
gas out.
Yeah.
I had a purchase this week. It was a direct result of Op Phoenix. I woke up with a very, very cold face multiple times, chapped lips and the like. So I bought myself some Working Hands Keith's Lip Repair Unscented, which will now be sitting in my kit because I don't know about you guys, but I've not yet found a way to sleep without my lips getting chapped when it's particularly cold.
I just sleep next to Lance.
And we just dock a little bit.
Just kiss.
No, we don't quite get there. You've got to leave a little bit of a gap.
So our condensation builds up, and we have beards, so my face remains moist
At all times.
all times. Yes, yes, just walking around with a wet
You
face.
need a good battle buddy to bunk up with.
and
Just
keep your lips wet
warm.
Yeah,
and warm.
Warm and wet. You need warm and wet lips.
warm and wet lips. At a
Is that the end of the news? Is there anything else?
I
Andy,
bought-
did we have an update on the Bandit? Was it the I forgot the name of the
Oh, the guys
charity.
doing the trekking. Yes.
Yes.
I've sent them a message. Hopefully they might be listening. But I sent them a message just asking for the final amount. I did get a bit of an update. They did have some difficulty with the weather, and some medical issues with asthma and things. So I don't think they did the full amount of the walk. But they will be going to do the remainder of the walk at a later date. So
Fair play. Well, sterling effort
but
regardless.
yeah, they did
And it's a
really
charity,
well
so it doesn't matter.
considering the weather that we had that weekend with the
I
cold.
can only
and
imagine it
things
being
that.
like 30 times worse than what we had,
Yeah.
considering the elevation and that them guys were
Mhm.
at. So yeah, no, fair play.
But yes,
Good
so
on
well done, guys.
them.
For I think they got about like 98% round. I think it was just the last
Oh Christ!
couple
Fair
of
play.
miles that they had to pull back on. But yeah, well done,
Mhm.
guys.
Yep, good on them.
If you are listening or listening back, drop us a message and let us know, and we can update it. But I think
I'll
they were
clap.
close
Don't
to
worry,
their
guys.
target.
I'll clap.
I don't know where the clap button is, so I'm
We can
sorry.
just-
Wah,
look,
wah,
here-
wah, wah.
I
here's-
genuinely don't have a clap button. I don't know what.
Tony, read your messages.
There's a lot of hatred for you,
James
Mike,
says,
tonight
Andy-
regarding liquids being burnt. Philip Dunn's
Yes, there's
very
quite a
cross
lot
of
of
you.
things in the chat
The
about
gas you're
Yeah.
burning. The gas you're burning on your cooker is evaporating fluid, Mike. God.
Yes.
Go
Right,
to
that's the end of the
store.
news.
Pew, pew, pew,
Oh,
pew,
no.
pew.
Oh.
Oh, is it not?
That's very mean.
Well, no, I
That's
bought
very,
a
very
poncho
mean.
for Op Phoenix, which did not
Ah.
arrive.
Oh, hang on. Play it
But
all
it
again.
arrived on the Friday via Amazon. And now I haven't even opened it because I don't need it. So it's still sitting in the hallway.
I'd like
Send
to
it back,
say,
mate.
on the
14
way, I mean,
days.
this is kind of a play on the fact that we're going to be rolling into the debrief for Op Phoenix anyway. But literally on the way there, I got a phone call from Andy going, I haven't brought a coat.
Oh, I bought coats.
Yeah, I brought multiple coats, but none of them are waterproof. So my plan is to just use one until it's wet and then get a dry one out. And just basically, Andy was just going to wear towels for the weekend.
Yeah, basically.
Brilliant.
So we worked out that Cadet's store actually isn't a million miles away from where we were at the time.
28 minutes.
Tunbridge Wells. Lovely part of the world. Great shopping.
Dangerous shop to walk into. So you can go, oh, I just come in for a jacket. Oh. What's that?
Philip is not cross, by the way. Just saying.
Cross.
Cross.
So your poncho, Andy, is it a nice poncho?
I don't know. It's still in the box. Because I literally don't. I literally didn't need it. Yeah, I bought it off of Amazon. Because I quite like the idea of just having a poncho so you can just throw up. So you the way I'm looking at it is if for summer events, I won't really want a basher, so I can literally just throw my poncho up. But my old poncho, all the stitching on the shoulders had frayed and come apart and gone all crusty. So when I put it on, it just fell apart. So I ordered this one. It arrived at 6 o'clock on Friday, which was a little bit irritating considering I was down the site at 10.
And we were
so
balls
now
deep in briefings by then.
Yeah, and then that was it.
Chris says, Andy, you should have said I had 2 ponchos and a full set of waterproofs with me.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Hindsight and all that.
I need to own my own. Like I need to grow up.
Even Danny.
I need to be an adult.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Are we done the news now, guys?
Yes.
Oh, just quickly. No, we're not.
Pew,
We're not.
pew,
We're not.
pew,
We're not.
pew.
I just saw Pegasus' message. Update on the combat charity event. Raised $5,000 for Ollie Talks Airsoft. So that's fantastic.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
Well done.
Well done.
Awesomely done.
And if you haven't, it's worth watching his latest update video if you haven't seen it on the progression and the signs and things like that. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting and another heart-wrenching episode from him. But yeah, definitely worth going over and having a little look.
Absolutely. Yep. I think that's the end of the news.
So Chris obviously mentioned about his 2 ponchos and a full set of waterproofs. Pony Tony said, does he have trousers though? And Chris went, and trousers,
He did have
and
trousers
a sleeping
all
bag.
weekend. Yes, and he slept in a sleeping bag and he wore trousers. So I'd say as soon as he got there, we all checked on him and said, have you got trousers and something to sleep? And he went, yep. I said, well, you've already won this weekend. That is winning. Whatever happens from now on is secondary to the fact that you've won arriving with all your kit.
Oh dear. Right.
So all good.
Who would like to give a summary of what Op Phoenix was?
Oh, hang on, let me change my picture.
I'll give a summary of what Op Phoenix was. Op Phoenix was.
I'm back now. Now I'm back in Op Phoenix. I'm ready.
Okay, so Operation Phoenix was a collaborative event between November Foxtrot and Empire Events, which is kind of the events brand of Empire Airsoft. We had hoped Kenny was going to be joining us on the show tonight, but for some reason he appears not to.
I think he's at campfire making class this evening.
Yeah.
All right. He may
Which
jump
he did
on
try
a
and get
little
out
bit.
of, but I insisted that he went after his fucking performance at the weekend on Building One.
It was poor.
I said, this is something you can't miss.
So hopefully he might still jump on. But the premise of the event was it's set 12 years after a major pandemic, which specifically wasn't COVID. The idea fundamentally was that a lot of the population had unfortunately passed due to this unprecedented disease that had swept through, and I think it was like only 10% of the country was immune. London had basically centralized itself from the rest of the UK, built a big perimeter wall, and that was basically where the government was now sitting. So you've got sort of all your MPs and everything like that, and your kind of hoity-toity well-to-dos in the middle, kind of all nicely boxed in. They sealed themselves off on the fear of kind of infecting everybody, and created a quarantine zone and left the rest of the country to fend for themselves. All good as it goes. The event itself was then between the government forces from London, which were expanding out. They've decided that they want to reunify the UK. They recently had an election in which a new government political party had come to light, which was the UBG, United British Government. And they were going to reunify the UK. That was basically their sole mission of their election platform. However, there's obviously a lot of people out there which, they've been living in there for sort of 10, 12 years out in the middle of nowhere. One of those factions was the Crusaders, which was led by a ultra right-wing Christian Reverend Julian Banjo, which I played myself, which was quite good.
Oh, was it you? Oh my God.
It was me. Surprise.
Yeah. Oh, didn't even know.
Hell. Fucking hell.
So the Reverend Julian Banjo was disappointed that basically the people of London were kind of living with relative luxury and all the kind of mod cons, while they'd left the rest of the country to kind of starve and fend for themselves. So they had devised this plan to breach the barricade quarantine walls and then release their deadly virus into the London area. And then there was also a civilian faction, which unfortunately we never gave a name to, other than just Civ Pop.
Well, they are. I always refer to them as survivors.
Yeah, there was a survivor faction. So that was comprised of sort of 5 to 6 people, which had been living there sort of 18 months before the other two factions had kind of met coincidentally in this place at the same time at the same event. So that's kind of the backstory to the event. How do you guys think it went from because the way that it worked from a DS team, Andy and Lance were sitting in the UBG camp, and then I was sitting in the Op4 Crusader camp. So, guys, tell us how.
From an organisational point of view, from my experience on previous events, over a fair few now, this has probably been the easiest to get on the ground and up running from a people taking parts point of view, getting them out into the field. Purely going by the storyline is that as UBG, we had no eyes on the ground at all over the X amount of years that we've not been outside the wall. So it was really easy from sort of mine and Andy's perspective of a briefing, this, that and the other, is that these two recce teams that we've got are the first eyes that we're going to be getting on the ground. We can't tell you who's out there, what's out there, what you're going to find, who you're going to be dealing with. That's why you're going. That was, in a nutshell, that was basically our briefing, is we need you to move into your OUPs and then push out to OP positions, or go over undercover, try and mingle in with the surviving populace in the area, and sort of try and like eke information out of them as to like different locations, supplies, other factions, arms, things like that, things that are going on in the area. But until they started feeding that intel back into us, we couldn't then start putting together target packages for them. So it was crucial that they got out on the ground and hit the ground running with reporting the slightest little things in, which they did really well. I mean, ever so slightly slowly to get going, which we sort of expected, but once they found their feet, it was just flowing. It was all coming in. There was always, and it was quite good that the two teams were bouncing off each other, with reporting one team moving over here, or armed guards moving there, and then the second team picking them up as the first team lost sight of them on a different side of the map. That was really cool, and it was really accurate. The descriptions they were given of both like the same unit, but from like an hour apart, was like spot on. That was really cool. But from our point of view, Andy, I don't know if you've got anything to add to that. It was a nice flow. We had a slight issue with comms, not from the land or anything, but purely some programming issues of some of the handsets just not recording. But then they started doing it, so it was fine after that. Yeah, it wasn't saving some of the settings, but after that it was cool. But other than that, it was brilliant. It was really good from our point of view.
I really like the fact that you could just, hey, hello, here he is.
Sorry about that.
That's
There.
all right.
Lance is judgy. I don't even have a
Joined
good
by Kenny
excuse.
from Empire.
I don't even have a good excuse. I was really hungry and I went into the kitchen and then my missus was making dinner and then I just got really involved in eating dinner and then I was like, oh my God, what have I done? So I'm sorry.
That's all right, mate. Glad you could join us.
You bastard, lad. I guess you've all heard.
I did say that you wouldn't be able to make it tonight because you was at campfire building class, and I insisted that you couldn't miss it.
So yeah, so the event was great, but I now hate Lance.
More so.
We're just we've done a bit of a debrief, Kenny, in terms of what the event was about, and then Lance and Andy are just talking about it from a UBG side.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, go on, so Andy. You were saying.
I'll listen in.
That's all right. Yeah, I really like the fact that when we got the teams out onto the grounds, it was down to them. Like there wasn't really a lot of input from Zero because we knew as much as, well, obviously we knew a little bit more than what they did, but out on the field, we technically didn't know as much as they did. So it was down to the teams to get the information back to us, which I think was a really good, enjoyable way of doing it. Because then also as well, me and Lance could build up our packet, like our packages and also taskings throughout the weekend. So we could literally go, actually, we really need to know what's going on in this camp, and we could concentrate the two teams on one camp. So actually, from a Zero's point of view, it actually gave us something to do as well. I don't know how, like, obviously Lance knew a little bit more than me, but for me to actually sit there and have to work out, right, well, we need guys here to look at this location. I mean,
definitely.
It was good fun.
We could, in a way, we can't even really steer people. We couldn't even steer the teams, you know. Not that saying it was like predetermined what they were going to be doing. We had a sort of a rough timeline of events that would happen, I guess, throughout the weekend. But it was all dependent on whether they'd get eyes on these things and report back the right things at the right time for us to then create the next part of it. Because if they don't, then we can't just suddenly go, oh, by the way, we've just had intel because we haven't had it, so we can't do that. And luckily enough, they didn't miss anything really at all, which was brilliant, you know. And getting one of the Romeo 1-2, Terry Little's team, he said like getting out on the ground in his civvy kit with just like the cloak up and his nods on, just at night time, just like walking past Op 4 and Op 4 patrolling and thinking, who the fuck is that? But not being able to engage because they don't know what's going on. Are they just another survivor group? And the other thing about it as well is that civilians, Op 4 and UBG, nobody knew how many of each team there was. So I mean, for all Op 4 knew at the start of the event, there could have been 25 UBG guys. You know, they could have been 50 Op 4. There could have been 25 civilians. Nobody knew. And it was down to the teams to work these things out, which I think worked really well. And it put a lot of suspense and a lot of tension on all the factions as to like how many people are we actually coming up against here, and where are they, and what are they doing, and how are we going to interact with them. So that was another great element to it, which I think a lot of people enjoyed. Is the unknowing, bringing that a more element of realism of you're going out into an area, we don't know what's out there. We've had, you know, from the story, we had some drones fly over, which took small arms fire, but that could have been from anyone. Do you know what I mean? Just taking some pot shots, and that's literally all we had. Some slight overview mapping, which we used to map the site. A very basic setup for that, just for people to coordinate with each other and keep it nice and simple.
I found it interesting on that. I found it interesting with like when Terry came back, he was like, they couldn't work out. They'd seen these guys wearing a different outfit, and they couldn't work out whether they were part of the Op 4 or whether they were a completely separate faction. And that was, and obviously I know, and I was like, but you don't say anything because you want them to go out and work that out, you know, because then that was, that kind of built them a next tasking, because then Lance and Andy like, okay, we'll now go and find out. We need to see if they are connected, you know, which I thought was, yeah, cool, because it was nice, like knowing, and no one else knows, and you think, you dumb fucks, but they worked it out. So yeah, and even, you know what, even with that, like watching everyone be able to almost change their disguise was also caught me out. I mean, I was just about to chuck a drone up just to have a quick whip over, and I saw these two dudes who looked like civilians, thought they were civilians, and Zero was out of the game. And I said, whoa, guys, I said, you're out of bounds. And then they both looked at me like, huh? And then they were like, hello. And I was like, oh, shit, they were actually UBG players. It was Terry. And it took me so long to recognize them. And they were like, hello. And I'm like, oh, shit, sorry. But they even fooled me, So, yeah, it was very cool.
No, nice.
Yeah, part of the premise for the event was ultimately that we wanted the ability of teams to ID each other to actually be quite challenging. So you had to work together to know who was on your team, who wasn't. And if you watch any, I mean, I appreciate that these are dramatized sort of fictional stories, but all of these apocalyptic shows that you watch generally all have one thing in common, which is, for the most part, people do tend to start looking the same. Using real world examples, obviously when the Twin Towers fell, you've got all that dust and debris and everything flying around. It's incredibly hard to identify people because everyone's just covered in shit, basically. There's so much crap in the air and everything like that. You start to lose that kind of unique identifiers for people. And it was very much kind of the premise for this event, which is, you want the ability that you don't know who the person is that you can see. It's post-apocalyptic Britain. Everyone potentially has access to a weapon. That they can find off of various army bases and police stations and checkpoints and things like that. And I think that worked really well. I mean, we did issue them with sort of an indicative loadout guide with head covers and bits and pieces like that. And it was particularly good that everyone kind of bought the same sort of stuff as well, because I think that made it even harder.
Absolutely.
Although it was hilarious when Andy
really
rocked into camp. Because we needed a quick DS chat, and he bought this. He was wearing this blue hood thing, and he genuinely looked like he was playing like the Mother Mary from
the
Nativity.
He looked like
coming
E.T.
up the road on his donkey.
He did. He looked like E.T. Yeah, I mean the effort that everyone on all factions put in was
100%.
awesome, and I think that's what made the event. And it sounds like very cliche, but the players make the event, and they did make the event. Do you know what I mean?
And also and taking the story on board as well, and really going into the story. Like the survivors, they're like Harry's guys. Their backstories and that they created for their characters, and
insane,
when was interrogated and stuff like that. I mean, it's just brilliant. It's fantastic. And then two of that team, it's their first ever mill sim, and they were just literally went balls to the wall and absolutely smashed it. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
absolute
they did.
quality.
But
So
I
good,
think
so good.
I heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, I don't usually role play that much," but even they were getting into it. And I'll be honest, I've really struggled with getting it with role playing while I've been playing other events. I don't know, I always feel a bit like, feel a bit awkward doing it. But when I walked out of Zero, straight away the Op 4 team came down from the gun emplacement and just went, "Oi, what are you doing?" And then instantly I was like straight into the role play. And you know what? I really enjoyed it because when everyone's doing it, you don't feel awkward because everyone's doing it, you know. And in the end,
it's just a laugh, isn't it?
Yeah, but then it does start getting a bit confusing because sometimes someone will come and talk to you out, especially if I haven't seen them for a long time, out of character. And then when I continue to role play, they're like your brother Mike, for example. And they was like, "Guys, can you just stop for 1 minute?" And I was like, "I have no idea who you are. I've never met you before."
It was the reports that our guys. Yeah, it was the reports that our guys were walking past Civ Pop and the Crusaders, like patrols and things like that, and just wandering around, and you could tell that people were like, "Are they another faction? Are they UBG? Are they someone else? Is there another Civ Pop group that we don't know about?" It was really it was really good that because we left it so open in a way. Generally, people had to work out what was going on.
Well, everyone ended up painting their own picture, didn't they?
Yeah,
it was so no one had a clue, and then by the end of it, everyone kind of had a clue. And then that's what they kind of had to work for, to have a clue.
I mean, it was obviously a little bit of a challenge because with any kind of ticketed event, the only way to kind of really mix it up would have been to only have tickets for one faction, and then all the rest of them were effectively sort of DS team actors and the like. But you know, we knew that there was going to be an element of, well, I know that there's an Op4 team, and I know that there's a UBG team. But the Civ Pop element, I think, because that was completely random, that was what threw it. Whilst there wasn't sort of ROEs for the Crusaders per se, I know that UBG did have some ROEs. The Crusaders were still on the intention of trying to get Civ Pop to join them, because obviously if they could woo them towards their cause, then potentially that gives them additional numbers and the like, and additional resources. So that was quite nice as well, because it wasn't just a case of, just going to blap the first person I see that I can identify as not my teammate when they're out on patrol or whatever.
Which was good, because a lot of events where it's been like, you get boots out on the ground, and there's a certain element to the game where, you're not going to go guns blazing straight away. And then, like, sort of 20 minutes down the road, you get on the radio, TIC, troops in contact, and then it's like, oh, fucking hell, it took 20 minutes. Whereas, this one, it was a good while before any shots were fired, I believe, sort of thing, in like anger towards another faction, which is great, which is exactly what we wanted. We needed those few hours at the start for people to sort of build the picture, gauge where they are at, and obviously give for mine and Andy's UBG recce teams to get into their LUPs and sort of establish themselves, sort of dig in slightly, and then start pushing out to their OPs. Now, I didn't want them to just be a contact straight away, and I sort of fingers crossed, I was like, please don't be seen, please don't this, please don't this. I know there was a soft compromise somewhere on the Saturday morning early hours, which Romeo 1-1 then bugged out of their LUP and re-established themselves, which is good. They're really well done. Good drills there. So fair play to them for that. And it's a difficult site at this time of year because there's not a great deal of cover. Although it's a big site, the foliage is very minimal still. Yeah, apart from the odd few brambles and that, you can see through that site quite a lot. So I think everyone done rather well to conceal themselves.
But I think what the teams did well to conceal themselves was they noticed the terrain, and I noticed that straight away. Second the light went down, I got the thermal out, and obviously I was part of the Civ Pop crew, so I had quite a lot of freedom to move around. And I was scanning, and I was finding objects, like human objects, watching us, and not that far out. And then I was moving to get a better angle. And when I looked up again, the heat source had gone. And I think the guys could obviously, they got nods on. They can see me moving around and like seeing that there's an object there. And then they were using, because the ground is all over the place, it's really up and down. And they're using all of these little dips and all of the natural tree barricades and stuff to just disappear from the thermal. And it happened a few times. I had people in my view, and then I would move to reposition to get a better shot or a different angle on them, and they completely vanished. And I was like, that is very impressive.
Yeah, so, we had some guys watching, I think it was Terry's group. We had them literally watching one section for ages, and then Terry radioed through saying, "Oh, they've got thermal. We're just going to duck down and just look through the bushes at them." And that was it. They just stayed there for the rest of the time, and didn't get spotted by it. So it is knowing how to hide yourself with the terrain as well. And then you got kicked out, didn't you, Kenny?
I got kicked out of Civ Pop because Harry kicked me out. So he said he did. He said to me, this is all in character as well. He said, you're bringing heat to us, basically, because I'd shot at some of the Crusaders. So he basically said, we will feed you and sleep you, but you are no longer fully welcome here. And he said, go and do what you want, but now you are going to be a hunted man. So the second he said it, I thought, yes. And I ran, stalked towards the Crusader camp and just took a couple of them out and then just ran away just to scare them a bit. But I quite liked it, like having a role and but that's the thing, because the story was developing all of the time. It almost developed to me on my own role in the game, which I thought was really cool. Even though the event wasn't for me, but I had a great time. So
yeah, slept in both of mine and Lance's sleeping bags. He couldn't be bothered to sort himself out.
I must be the only person. I turned up to a 3-day meal sim with. I had a backpack which I cobbled together about 20 minutes before, an HPA bottle, 6 packs of Walkers, some Biltong, some Haribo, enough magazines and BBs to last me, and that was it. And then. And luckily everyone was letting me sleep in their beds.
Muted, Lance. Lance, you muted.
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, so I got back to camp and Kenny's passed out in Andy's DOS bag, and it's like, Andy, do you want to get your head down? He's like, yeah, I could do with it. So it's like, gave Kenny a kick, and he's got up, and Andy's like crawling in his bag, and Kenny sat there like, oh, so cold. And I was like, do you want to? I said, listen, my DOS bag's in my Bergen. If you want to use that, and literally by the time I'd said it, I turned around, and he was in my sleeping bag. I got it out already. He's just like, wow, that was really quick. Night then, Ken. Night, guys. I've got it. It's fine.
This is the thing. You guys have all the Gucci kit, which is really good. So I slept like a baby.
Yeah, we were snuggled in our little lovely part of the world.
So to anyone listening who's scared of going on a meal sim and they're worried about the kit, just go with someone who's got all the kit. It works every time.
Come with me and Andy. Come
with us.
They don't sleep anyway, so it's cool.
Well, we try to.
Good evening, Reverend. I'll behave yourself.
Mike has really taken this role on, isn't he?
Oh man, I loved
Oh,
it.
you loved it.
Well, I was so excited when I first clapped eyes on his costume. As an ad-lib character that I brought in.
We have that ready to show.
Do we have the image?
Unreal.
Oh, look at it! Wonderful.
I loved putting that costume together.
Where's my Calvin Klein edit I did of him? I want the Calvin Klein logo in the black and white one. No, the black and white one.
Oh, the black and
left.
white.
I really hope he's
That's
just
the
in
one. That's it. Yeah.
And if anyone wants that as a screensaver, take it, screenshot it now.
Yeah, so I got to play this character, which was wicked, and I think people know me well enough that I do like dressing up, and having the ability to kind of run as a TL, as this character was wicked to kind of kind of help drive the story. I mean, it was quite an unscripted event from the perception of the teams, and hopefully that came across because we did try to make it as dynamic as possible. So when things happened, that was kind of like an opportunity that, okay, well, it's fine. This has happened. We need to go out and do this now, or we've identified things. We did have a little bit of an issue in terms of we had less numbers than we'd originally anticipated, and I think that's a learning point for us going forward. You know, I appreciate that we had 2 positions that we effectively needed to keep stag on, which was our main fob and the battery. So we had these epic-looking artillery pieces. Which, Andy, can you see if you can find a picture of those up?
Yeah, I'll see if I can find a picture.
So Lance and Kenny had made these
mainly
looking artillery pieces, which
we
had kind of established.
Can we just say it took us 2 days to drag them into position because of the freaking weather and the ground?
Yeah, it was actually quicker to build them than it was to move them about 300 meters.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. It was hell.
It was unbelievable. Honestly,
we
I couldn't believe it, but yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
So these are the artillery guns that they built. So they're based off sort of agricultural trailers, if I'm right.
Yeah, I found them in the bush. I found these 2 trailers of working axles and wheels in brambles at my place. And then Lance was just like, I know what we can do with those. And then he built these little artillery guns on them. And they actually look amazing.
Yeah, they're sort of a take on a howitzer 6-pounder sort of type setup thing. But yeah, they do the job quite nicely. I've got to add a breech yet, so you can fire 38mm mortars out of them. But they'll do the part when the time comes. Yeah. Hey, quite a job. Very impressed with my work.
Good bits of kit.
Yeah.
So we had those sort of flying around on site as well for people to defend. And I think that was a bit of a challenge because obviously we had originally anticipated the numbers as being 30 op for 18 UBG and then sort of 6 to 8 civ pop. So we managed to meet the civ pop numbers quite easily. UBG, wasn't really too much of an issue, but I think it's something that we've learned that ultimately you need 3 teams. If you have a position to defend, you need 2 more teams than you have the numbers of positions to defend, basically, because otherwise you run the risk of you can't have downtime, you can't have patrols and things like that. It becomes challenging from that perspective.
It overworks people as well. The people on the ground, they do get overworked and they tire quicker, and it's just it turns into a fucking logistical nightmare of trying to get everyone where they need to be.
I mean, anyone I bumped into, they were all shattered, and everyone I spoke to was like, "We haven't slept." But you know what? And I was a little bit concerned that late Saturday, going into early hours Sunday, I thought, shit, this is when everyone starts getting ratty because they haven't slept now. And I was dreading that a bit, but everyone just kept ploughing through, and I thought, I bet you Sunday night everyone slept like a baby.
Oh, mate, it was beautiful. Belly full of lamb and some red wine. I had so many wonderful dreams.
But I mean, you know what? I think that kind of like shows the people who came, because they all just kept ploughing on, and there's no drama. Do you know what I mean? It was like everyone just did their bit and enjoyed it.
So I saw people looked exhausted, but exhausted with smiles on their faces, and it literally
yeah. I have to admit, when we
that's
took
winning,
the camp,
really.
Yeah, when we took the camp at the end, and there was 2 people, Danny and Wayne, that looked like they needed to go to bed. Like there was.
Yeah.
Well, Wayne unfortunately had like an hour's sleep, but he just refused to get his head down. And I say that's a learning point going forward. And ultimately, you know, we just need to assess the numbers a little bit closer in terms of the taskings on that front. Because I had, you know, I always make sure to rotate. If I'm TL of any team, I always make sure to rotate in downtime and the like. But the problem is because we had so few numbers, I couldn't give the guys more than sort of 2 hours downtime at a time. Because otherwise, if you've got 3 hours downtime, you've got 3 hours of stag, or you've got 3 hours of doing something else. So
that's why everyone hated you at the end.
Yeah, it's quite possibly. But unfortunately, we had a role to do, and we had to adapt the game as we went as well. There was a few kind of logistical issues that we had as organisers, which were outside of our control. So we had to adapt it ever so slightly, and it was a little bit of a killer on that front, because obviously the guns that we'd been guarding all day, we had to write effectively out of the story, annoyingly, sort of towards the end. Oh, Danny was an absolute boss, just kept going. But yeah, it's challenging, and it's something that we'll work on going forward. I think just 2 hours sleep in increments isn't enough, although it did keep people going. And I had a number of people saying that, you know, whilst it's not a lot of sleep, the micro naps and everything were really helpful. So that's good. And then you've got Harry as well. Harry and his guys running around the camp, howling in the middle of the night at us.
Oh my god!
Genuinely, that genuinely scared. I messaged so we had a bit of a DS sort of chat, didn't we? That involved the Civ Pop as well, and literally it started howling, and I messaged straight away, that better be fucking you guys, or I'm gone.
Well, because I had to leave site on the Friday night to go into work, and then come back about 5-6 p.m. Saturday morning.
And I was on me.
And of course, I got back, and he's there just like in our, underneath our basher sort of thing, next to the comm set up, and he's like, "Oh, there was howling last night, and I don't know." I was like, and I was sitting there like with a coffee, like, "The fuck are you talking about? Go back to sleep. You need to go to bed. You need to go to sleep right now."
Yeah.
The first
and it wasn't until later on the Saturday I found out about the howling. I was like, Andy hasn't lost his mind. He's actually telling the truth.
So the first time the howling happened, we were all like at the Op 4 camp. We were like, right, we clearly know there's people out there. You know, whoever's on stag, start getting eyes on. We've got thermal and MVGs and this and this like that. The second time it happened, the guys just started singing hymns and carols and stuff like that. Like anything that they could remember from like old school primary school, like
school assembly
hymns and stuff like that, and stuff like that. And I know that obviously religion's always a difficult subject to bring up anyway. You know, and we've talked about some events in the past where, you know, there's a kind of a line to be drawn, and it's one of the reasons we kind of picked Christianity, because myself, I'm a Christian of A level. And it didn't take the piss at any point, if that makes sense. Like we weren't making like crude jokes or anything like that. But watching 6 guys just fucking shout their lungs out, "Kumbaya," in the middle of the night with a whole load of people howling at them from outside the camp was the funniest thing to watch.
Yeah. And when you're sitting on your own down in this little defilade, just hearing all this commotion coming, what literally sounds like just behind the tree, like in front of you.
It does travel.
You
weren't
alone. You weren't alone. I was asleep in your DOS bag.
No, when the howling was on, you weren't there.
Oh, would I? I don't know where I would have been.
So I literally got the machete out, and I was like, right, it's happening.
Anyone comes.
Game on.
Game on.
couple other things we also had, which was a little bit different to some events that we've attended, because the premise of this event ultimately was that the four of us have been to various events in the past, and we wanted to run something that was a little bit different, a little bit dynamic, and sort of just pulling little bits here, there, and everywhere from events that we've been to. And one of which was the skeletons. So we had a number of sort of skeleton set out in different scenarios. This poor, I can't remember if this was the chap or the lady, but this poor person had been hit by a tree while they were collecting water. So we had these skeletons, and then within the various camps as well, we had bags. I don't know if we got a photo of the bag at all, but we had bags that the skeletons had sort of on their possession as they died, basically. And the bags contained a plethora of information, backstory, intel. We also chucked in some things as well, like sweets and cans of drink and kind of little bits and pieces for people to actually use. So everything in that bag was basically in-game. And any bags that had like a yellow band on them, they could be searched. So it gave people the opportunity. It gave people the opportunity that they could actually search through stuff, because it's challenging at some airsoft events. Like some people don't want their bags rifled through, which is fair enough. You're not going to argue that point. But this kind of makes it an in-game thing that you can go through that. You can take the supplies out of it and you can utilize those. So that seemed to work quite well. Although interestingly, because we have started kind of gaining the feedback, one of the feedback is there wasn't enough of that. So that, again, I think is something to roll forward for potential future events. And
do you know how much those fucking skeletons were?
No, not so much the skeletons, but the bags. So the bags and stuff like that. Like,
what, they want more bags to search through?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Having little things that you can have out in the field with stuff going on that you can kind of engage with and things like that. I think that's quite.
Yeah,
for me, it was a cool idea, and I know that.
Yeah, because like we got when we did the sniper events, the first couple, that was kind of the whole deal was to find the different sites, and then recce them and find something from them. Didn't like Lance, we were putting Lance built like these little sweet packs, and we put them all in the ammo crates, and then we put little BBs in there so they could take some extra ammo and stuff. And I think that's cool, like trying to think of different things and add them in. Gives people something to search for, not just run around to kill people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the intel that Mike put together, obviously, that are in the bags, there's actual backstory of all the medical documentation.
Oh, huge amounts of effort.
Which then will lead you on to other bits and bobs. Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, all the images I was getting back from the guys are actually taking the time to look through it and think, fucking hell, well, Christ, we can marry her up with that. That skeleton was there. This guy's still missing, so we need to find this. He could be the key to where we go next and how we sort of like move on with our taskings and stuff like that. It was fantastic, really good.
I think I was asleep in Andy's DOS bag, and I got woken up because Terry and his lads came back, and they had just a catalogue of evidence, that they had shot, and it was really cool because it was like it wasn't just like airsoft. It was like they were in a game show, because they were flicking through it all, trying to find something relevant and taking pictures of it all in the pitch black without their phones, their torches, and they're trying to piece these bits together, like going, have we got this? Do we know? Have we got any more information on this woman? Do we need to go and find? Do you know what I mean? And it became a lot more of a game than.
Well, it's almost like a Milsim escape room type.
It
vibe,
was a bit,
it
was cool.
You've got to get all these little elements together and stuff like that to forward your event. Without it, if you're just walking around waiting for someone to shoot, you're gonna struggle. You need to do these little intel gathering taskings and things like that to sort of further the event for yourself and your team.
Yeah. So we did get some Op4 took some photos that has been shared to us already. Or the Crusaders.
There should be some in the slide drop as well from UBG. I'm sure I'll put them in there. I can't remember now.
I haven't done that yet. I haven't got that together. Oh, sorry, the one in the chat. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
So we basically made these little packs. Kabbalah Research was a company which were sort of heavily involved with the manufacture and sort of treatment of this disease that had broken out 12 years ago, and it was kind of building on that basically. And there were two members of the research team that had made it to the woods and then met their demise. And then there were various vials and ID cards and little bits of backstory here. I spent ages writing it. I'm not gonna lie.
They looked awesome.
It took me at least a day just to put that logo together because I was trying to get the perfect logo. But yeah, it was great fun, and then the guys as well. We had different medic rules to usual, so the medics had to carry bottles of water. We had NBC specialists that had to put on gloves, and they had little boxes every time they found any kind of contaminated vials or anything like that. They had to kind of have the NBC person do that and take them out and put them in the the box.
That's one thing that I picked up on, that the medics in our section on a couple of occasions went out without their water bottles, and right at the start, I think it was Romeo 1-2's medic left all his medic water bottles.
To be fair to him, though, I think it's because he was caught in traffic. He was desperate just to get out there, and it was
get out there,
like, just get you out in the field. And it was coming back like, oh fuck, this is water bottles. So we had to get them out to him like an hour later.
But I know it happened.
Enough, they were laid up, so they wasn't getting any contact. So it wasn't a problem. It was just to get him out.
I know the Crusaders didn't have a medic on a few occasions.
Yeah, so we had Team 1. So Team 1, big shout out to them. They were portraying my holy order. So they were sort of black berets and brassards with a big sort of white cross on them and stuff like that. And they were not only tasked with undertaking the full rota that the rest of the Crusaders were doing, but they also had to provide me personal protection throughout the whole event. So I had one or two of them pretty much on me at all times. I went to have a piss and I had to have Terry standing behind me guarding me because they took their duties very, very seriously. But that was quite good fun, and I think at one point their medic was allocated to me as a PPO. The rest of the team had gone out on tasking to go and undertake stag at the battery, and then obviously one of them got shot by Kenny in the head. So we had to then sort out a medic to get up there and stuff. So there's a few little bits and pieces that we need to kind of work through for if we were to do it again. And there's, with hindsight, there's always things that you could potentially do differently. But yeah. It was a tough event. It was a tough event for them. Like the whole team as a whole. Like I know that they were really, really putting the effort in, and it was wicked to see. And I know that there was a lot of waiting around at times, and I think that was partly because I didn't trust you two. There were points of like we'd agreed that something was going to happen, and I was like, oh, they might try doing it early. I don't know. So at one point, I did get the guys up an hour or so early for no reason, and they're just standing around in the cold waiting for something to happen. And I think that was wholeheartedly my fault, and I apologise for that. But that was me trying.
It's good drills though. It's good. It's a test. It's a test of their loyalty to you, to Mr. Banjo.
So, but yeah, it was a good event. It was a good event. I think that's pretty much everything. I don't know if we want to go through a couple of questions or anything like that, or if you guys have any.
I think there's quite a few comments, isn't there? So.
Some comments.
I'll run through the comments then.
Kenny, can you mute your mic a second just to see if it's your mic that's.
I think he's got an airplane going over him.
I don't know. I keep on getting this.
I think it is Kenny's.
That's Kenny. God, so fucking shit. Shit campfires. Shit microphone.
Turn up late.
Terry says.
Turn up late.
Terry says, thank you for an amazing weekend. Ryan says it's taken me 3 days just to clean the mud off everything. And yeah, shout out to Ryan as well with the Civ Pop, who just like I think Ryan got an absolute hammering for his tight jeans.
Yeah, with his tight jeans walking around the field.
I do have a confession to make. I do apologise for whapping you one in the arse with my DMR when you were looking eyes into the rhododendron bushes on the Saturday afternoon with your two other guys in tow. It was too much of a juicy target to turn down, so I do apologise. It had to be done, and I'm not sorry, but I am sorry at the same time.
Yeah, Terry says I got them up and then I went to sleep. To be fair, I had been awake while you guys were all getting your head down because I was taken on a stag roll for 2 or 3 hours. I think it was me and Les were sitting there, and it was lovely as well. Just to have a little sit there and just have a little chatter with my PPOs. It's like something I don't always get to do. But yeah, I will take that into account in future games. Terry says, was it an Empire NoFo or a NoFo Empire event?
It was an Empire.
An Empire.
An Enfo.
Info.
Yeah, I mean, like realistically, and then we said, me and Andy both stood there at the end and was like, we did fuck all. Thanks to Mike and Lance. You know what I mean? You guys built the mill sim, built the event. I just assisted. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of under the Empire name, and but it was a real like joint venture, wasn't it? You know.
Absolutely.
I think it worked really well. I think the whole thing went well, and it was nice to. It was. I would never have done something like that myself because I don't have the experience and the mass knowledge of like all of the events that you guys have been to. So yeah, but like the work you put in was I've never seen before. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just good. It was a good collab. It was a good collab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it gave me and Kenny loads of team bonding exercises in the woods.
Yeah,
many more to come, hopefully.
Yeah, well,
the first of many.
I was
first in the series.
After that one, I was like, "Fuck, we've got to do this again," and also like because showing Mike's excitement for what he has already got planned, I was like. You couldn't let him down and say, "Nah, Mike, we're not going to do this," because he was like, "But I've got everything planned out." And I think
even after that, even on the Sunday when I got back, my creative juices were flowing. I was just thinking, right for the next one, and if it's a prequel or a follow up, okay, that can happen. And I'm sitting there thinking, "You're fucking exhausted. Just stop for a minute."
Because when I came up under a white flag, me and Mike ended up chatting. We were like, "Okay, right, we'll do this, and it'll work out really great for the next one."
And also in the apocalypse, white flags mean nothing, Andy. You should know that.
And next time I'll be going with pyro. I don't care what the rules are. You're all getting blown up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it was a for the event. It wasn't like necessary to have pyro, but I think maybe we can, if we did another one there again, maybe we'll do something for the day. Do you know what I mean? Like have some day period set where we can do something because it might add some more taskings in as well. But we'd have to.
If we can, hopefully, you can maybe get some of those thermobaric, the night, sort of like the
night ones are cool.
The night pyro that Chef BS do, maybe get some of that in to look at because obviously it's a much lower decibel reading, but it still gives you like the flash and this, that, and the other. So that's worth looking at.
Obviously, we've just got to be a bit conscious of noise. That's the only thing. But that's everything else is amazing there, isn't it? But
oh yeah, you can't fault it.
All I'm going to say was the howling would have been louder than any pyro you could have thrown.
I won't lie. I won't lie. I think I was like laid up in a bush or something, maybe attacking the bloody like the battery, but. When I heard the howling, I don't even remember exactly where I was, but I definitely heard it, and I thought that's fucking traveling.
That's waking up all sorts of creatures.
Exactly. Yeah. we're gonna start getting some complaints from like the local badger population.
To be fair, when it started howling the second time, the deer herd ran from the top of the land through our zero camp and down to the far end.
Yeah,
and there's me just sitting there going, "What is going on?"
They thought that wolves had been reintroduced.
Yeah.
City Outdoorsman said the same thing. The howling properly confused them. So they were watching the camp react to it. Which is quite cool.
That's fantastic.
Ryan said being captured by the Crusaders was a scary thing. Thought I was going to lose a body part. I'll tell you what, there's an element of feralness that seems to happen to people at some mill sims because we managed to capture Ryan. We knew that he'd been being a pain and sort of lighting us up. We'd managed to identify him. We managed to capture him, got him into camp, and then everyone was like, "Yeah, we can send him back, but we'll take a little bit of him off."
Just a little bit.
I'm like, no, guys, we're gonna give him back because we want to make friends with the civilian population. If we start sending bits of Ryan back, it's not going to help. Rage says, "When's the next one?" So we haven't even started talking about the next one yet, really.
No,
properly.
It would be nice.
I'd like to say there'd be another. Yeah, I'd like to say there'd be another one this year, but we have got some other bits to do. But there could be one. It could be It could be one. We'll have to see.
Yeah,
The premise at the moment,
I'd love to
something-
do one.
in case
I
anybody
like
wants
the way
to-
Mike just goes, there could be one.
No, I'd like to do one as well. I mean, for me, it's a time thing. Like I'm fairly limited as to what I can
Well, we
do
all
this
are,
year,
aren't we,
'cause I've
really?
already kind of lined up months wise.
And it's
but the
and
big
it's
question that we've
deciding
got.
on. Well, go on.
I was going to say the big question that we've got. We don't know whether to do a prequel or a sequel.
That's
So
exactly what I was
we've
just
got
about to
ideas for
say.
both. Yeah, we've got ideas for both, and it depends on what people would like to do. The prequel will likely be smaller teams kind of competing against each other for resources and the bits and pieces like that. Whereas the sequel, probably similar to kind of the setup that we had for this one. So it depends on kind of how people want to roll with it, really.
And I think the prequel was
we-
going to be a lot different to a normal mill sim, if you like.
Rach says do both.
Yeah, why not? But I think the prequel would be much different to a lot of other events, including the one we've just done. It's going to be. I'm not saying it's not going to be any airsoft there. Of course, there's going to be airsoft there because it's an airsoft event, if you like. But that would come in later on. You'll need to approach the prequel with a very open mind and run with it, and it will all come good. That's all I'm going to say. If we do it, that's all I'm going to say. Because I don't want to spoil it. Because it would be. I would love to take part in it. I would love to do the prequel as a player, as opposed to an organizer. Much more.
Well, sorry,
to do that.
you can't.
I know. I can't. I've got to monitor campfire etiquette throughout the weekend.
Exactly.
Just to make sure it's
You just got to look after it.
Just got to make sure there's a standard maintained and it's kept at a level.
I'm going to have to start putting a disclaimer everywhere I go. But like, FYI, I can build a campfire. Lance is just
My name's Kenny, and I'm going to get you a T-shirt about Empire Airsoft. Employee of the month, Kenny. Talk to me about campfires.
Yeah. I mean the prequel, the idea of the prequel is that it's happened. So I think sort of like on the not on the day of the pandemic, but kind of around that period. Whereas this event was set 12 years after that.
It's sort of like the eve of the evacuation type thing.
Yeah, and like the sequel would probably be 6 months after this last event, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of a lot of ideas. Yeah, something like that. So. Yeah, we'll wait and see. But if anyone wants to shout at us for either one or the other, then let us know. Because
we should put a poll up. Let's do it. We love a poll.
Maybe we could do a poll. Yeah.
Let's do a poll on our Instagram.
Andy loves a poll.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think we're going to get around to patrol and stag stuff tonight. I think we might have to push that back to another podcast. So I apologise. I'm going to have to.
Everybody's just done that at the weekend. They don't talk about it. They all know. They're all professionals. What do they want to know? No poll, do both. Absolutely, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I think we will. I think we will end up doing both.
The sequel. I think you should do. The
I think
sequel,
we will do both. It's
and
just
then
a case
do
of
then do the prequel. So you've got kind of like what's happening, and then you do the prequel because they always stick random prequels in on movies, don't they?
Yeah.
Just do both. Do both.
Yeah.
Well, there we are. The masses have spoken.
Yeah, the crowd has spoke.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I couldn't attend this.
You're
damn right. You're sorry. You couldn't attend it.
Yeah, missed out, mate.
Fucker.
Missed out.
Oh, damn it.
Who was
Ed.
that? Oh, Eddie boy.
Oh, Eddie.
Oh,
I loved it.
Missed
there
you,
was
mate.
one
Missed you,
point
mate. Wish you was there.
One of my teams.
I did
was
actually get to see. I just want to say I did get to see Eddie earlier on. He popped round.
Did you?
So, yeah, he'd come and drop some stock off, and he looked absolutely dashing.
Did he? Was he going out on a hot date?
No,
Let's talk about Ed for a bit.
He's just been. He's just been
So a
looking after
photo shoot.
himself. He's looking after himself. He was all streamlined and just he had something about him. He had an air about him.
Had he washed his ghillie suit?
No, he doesn't wear that all the time. By the way.
No, he does. He does. You can't spoil. That. What on earth is going on, Andy? Have you got your microphone in your trousers? It's just
Yeah,
as soon as you started moving, it's going.
mental.
It sounds like me and Mr. Blobby.
Yeah. You need to mute your
Can't hear
mic
you,
and sort
Andy.
that out because you're going blub 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 blub.
Noel Edmondson. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, Terry says on a bank holiday, so it can start Thursday and finish Monday. I mean, I think I know that there were some queries and bits and pieces, and we'll be going through the feedback, and it might be that we come up with maybe we talk about the feedback on the episode as well at some point.
Yeah,
because I think it's
I really liked your feedback thing because this really was like a players making a game for the players. Do you know what I mean? So there's like
could you imagine that?
Zero ego.
Thursday to Monday.
It's like do you know what I mean? There's zero ego involved. It's just like we just genuinely want to make a good game for everyone and make everyone happy. Do you know what I mean? So the feedback thing is like quite important that everyone fills it out and they fill it out honestly.
It's essential,
and it's
absolutely
anonymous.
essential.
So it gives the people the opportunity that they can be keyboard warriors if they want to be. So
yeah, and I mean, we're thick-skinned. I reckon Mike's going to be
exactly that. And the best criticism is the constructive criticism. You know what I mean? Not just just turn around saying, "Oh, it's fucking shit." That doesn't help anybody. You know, I could say that about a meal out. Oh, how was your meal? That was fucking shit. Oh, well, any particular part of it? You know, do you want to elaborate slightly? You know, when you come up against things like that, it's just like, oh, I haven't got the time for that. Sorry.
And we're trying.
You need to be a grown up now and tell me actually what the problem is. Yeah, because I'm not guessing.
And I do got to admit, we do have to kind of say thank you to Defiant Events for their idea of that and stealing it. So...
Absolutely, yeah. But it's a feedback for you. It goes without saying. Absolutely, 100% need that.
Yeah. I
really do. Just to get that feedback, it's brilliant. Really good. And
it's important.
I'd like to say most of it all very positive so far. So thank you very much for that.
Now you said that. It's because the people who are really, really waiting, they're just sitting there thinking, "Oh, those fuckers."
Give it time.
Aren't they? They're gonna get Mike at his most vulnerable.
Yeah, I'd rather people be open and honest and tell us because ultimately, this is the reason we've made the feedback form anonymous, and it is a direct copy of how Defiant run their feedback. As I say, we've kind of picked the bits that we like from different events, and that is a wicked idea. I mean, ultimately, people sometimes don't want to give feedback at an event. You don't want to be standing there with people or right in front of them going, "I didn't."
It says they are still typing. Maybe we need to put a word count on the feedback form.
Yeah.
15 words. 15 words.
My feedback was whoever organised the moon for that weekend is a fucking legend. Put the night vision on, and it was just like, this is too bright.
That was the first thing I did in March was search when the nearest full moon weekend was, and I was like, yeah, that one.
I was literally like, there was moments where we got into a gunfight, and on the night when we were spiking the guns, I looked over when we had the contact. I caught the moon, and it turned off the auto gate on me. And I was like, this is helpful. Oh, actually, I can still see. I was like,
it was brilliant.
It was so bright
when we laid up in that ambush at the guns because we had cloud cover come over, and literally as these targets walked up the track, the cloud just sort of cleared the moon. It went all the way across. It was just like, wow.
Like, that is nighttime. That is literally what it was like.
Yeah. It was
and
awesome.
That's
Have you got my ghostly image there, Mike, as well?
I have got your ghostly one.
It's Andy.
Yeah,
Andy's
this was
in charge
weird.
There. That was weird.
Now that, I'm actually stood there, yet the picture's been taken through me. Like, you can see I don't know how any photographer or budding photographer out there who can tell me why. That's just my phone set up on a 10-second timer, and I'm stood in front of it. Camera went off. No flash. I turned the flash off because I wanted to capture the moon behind it, so there was no flash or anything like that. And this is what I got. And I looked at it, I was like, I died for a minute.
Yeah,
and then I'm back again.
Phased out. Because then the other photo next to it, that's what it was.
Because I showed Mike it, he was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, no, that's not fucking cool. That's not the answer I wanted, Mike. You should be like, oh my God, that's cool. You can see through you.
I have a sneaky suspicion that where you've put it on timer over, it started capturing it. Because, like night, when it does like the night capture, it kind of takes a little bit of time to get in. So whether it's a case of you've moved into position while that's what, I don't know, but it's a
So
cool
I stood
photo.
there for 10
It's definitely a
seconds.
cool photo.
It thingy, I was like, right, 10 seconds, here we go.
I'm less of a believer that you phased out during.
I think he phased out.
I phased out, man.
He turned.
I think
he went
I
one
think
with the
I
forest.
embedded the full spirit of Skullman and become
we
one
have
with the forest
Skullman as well.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about Skullman actually. So we obviously made this a dynamic event, right? In which
Lance just made up his own shit.
Yeah, if things happened in this event, we can roll with it. That was the whole premise of it. So my guys are standing on stag, and all of a sudden we see what is to me very clearly Lance, and he's wandering around with a stick and a skull on it. I knew it was Lance, and I was thinking,
oh, we haven't got the skull.
No, I found that later on.
I was thinking, if that's Lance, I want to capture Lance. So I was like, right, guys, go get him. Go get that guy. Ross, who was brand new to Milsim, I think he's not been playing Airsoft very long at all. And he's absolutely...
It's what I've come to know as Ross the Bastard.
He's jumped in with
That's
both
how he's
feet.
known to me now.
He has. Yeah. Great guy. And he clocked Lance, got him down. They captured him. And then, my God, it was the genuinely scariest conversation I had that weekend. Because Lance was playing this role of the one. He wouldn't talk to me because where he'd been shot, he said, I've been shot in the throat, I've got no voice, etc. So he just sat down.
I had to write that down, though.
Yeah, he only talked to me through freaking paper. So I had to go get guys to go get me a notepad and paper. So we got that, and he's writing stuff out to me. And then he's like, I am the voice, I am the one, I am the forest, you will die. Oh, God, what is this? This wasn't in the storyline. Where is this?
He was in the zero camp. He was in the zero camp, and he just went and just got dressed with all this clothing and went, I'm just going to go out and shit everyone up. And he just made up his own storyline and just disappeared.
And it was literally on the spot as well. And then he goes, I've got a stick. And I went, get a skull. When he went, I know where there is a badger. And I was like, what?
My staff is now called Harry.
Yeah.
That was all good fun.
That was quirky.
You can't get more dynamic than that.
But it was the fact as well, Civ Pop, it was freaking Civ Pop out because apparently you were popping up in one location, sort of disappearing, and then just appearing over there in a completely different location.
Because I think it was Charlotte turned went, nobody can move that quickly and get from there to there. How did you do that? How did you do that? You can't do things like that. I was like, well, if you look at this picture I took later in the evening, I obviously can. I am gas.
Yeah.
Staff of the staff of tuberculosis. I love that. Brilliant.
Excellent.
Oh, it was good. It was a really good little.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Because I've been so busy. This is the first time I've actually thought about the event since it ended. Because I just had to got injected back into Empire, and I've been like, oh, and now I'm remembering how good it was.
Oh mate, it was brilliant. And I like to say, Romeo 1-2, which was Terry, SEO Terry, and his guys, Samir and all that, and they do all the very sort of like, I'm not saying that this wasn't a Gucci event, but the whole meeting at a hotel for a briefing, doing a strike op at a certain site in vehicles, pulling out all Pelly cases, this, that, and the other jazz. So they're very much out of their comfort zone at this style of event with Bergens, and Terry loves belt kit, hates webbing, so he'd never use that, but with Bergens and bits and bobs like that, like out on the ground sort of thing. So this was all very sort of newish to them and to those guys. Absolutely fucking loved it. Absolutely loved it. Terry said, he said, I struggled to sleep. He said, I got a solid 10 hours sleep that night, I believe it was, after that event. He said, no, normally I really struggled to get good night's sleep. He said, that event absolutely fucking wiped me out.
Yeah,
for all the right reasons.
But he also said that usually they struggle to stay in the game and the role play. And they were loving it, running around and they literally just had a pistol concealed. And they were just, they're smiling their faces, even like 3 a.m, they're rocking up, and I'm like, fucking hell, like, go to sleep. And
they went
just
through,
like, we're going out again.
I mean, I've got to be honest, both our recce teams got on the ground by 7 p.m, we're both in the AO by 7 p.m. Now, how much sleep they got between 7 p.m. on the Friday evening and exfilling 24 hours later I think I gave them a little bit of downtime on purpose because I didn't want anybody to be sort of. So me and Mark sort of had a bit of a gentleman's agreement of like, this is going on now. Use this time wisely to sort of reorg, admin, do your bits and bobs. And I just gave my guys a block of kip just for those last few hours then of like pushing out to the ambush position, recce in the op 4 camp, then making the attack, blah 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 blah. And that worked really well. And if we hadn't have done that and kept on going, I think we would have really, really struggled right at the end, just purely through fatigue. I mean, I wasn't out on the ground, but my legs were killing me, and I was manning a comms unit for most of the weekend. But those times I did go out, you're constantly moving.
Yeah.
When you're out on the ground, unless you're laid up.
That mud was as well.
And I mean, compared to the summer over there, every step was like 3. Every step, and when you're loaded with kit as well.
Lance, I forgot to tell you boys, actually, when everyone had gone, I was the last person on site. So I ferried everyone's kit back to their cars when it was over. It took me hours with the quad and a trailer. And then I loaded all of the last bit of kit I needed to take back to mine in the trailer. And I went down that big hill and then I just couldn't get up the other side. The quad couldn't even get up there. And I just got stuck and I just rolled back into the middle of it. And I just sat there and was like, because no one was around to help me, honestly. And it was just me left at the end of the event, just like, so that was
it's like the end of your birthday party and all your friends have got home and you're just
it was just like, and I thought, what am I going to do?
You could have called me and Chris. We were sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah, you were sitting waiting for hours, weren't you?
Yeah.
I got my last bit of kit and went off tabbing across the field and I was like, see you on the flip side, motherfuckers. Chris and Andy just sat there like God bless him.
Fun.
Yeah, no, fair
Making
play.
little mud angels.
Mud angels. The thing is, that wouldn't shock me. It really wouldn't shock me if he was actually doing that. That's the thing.
So we were quite fortunate with the weather, but there were times where it did start raining quite hard. Like sort of rainstorms and things kind of whistling through. And I mean, we obviously had a fire in the Op 4 camp. I know Civ Pop had a fire as well. There was a point, a little smidgen of a point. I was like, "Oh, I hope UBG are all right." and then that
they were
that
fine.
Went
they made
a
strong stuff.
Let me just warm my hands up.
They made a strong old stuff, mate. Don't worry.
There was a
hearty fire waiting for them when they exfilled from their LUPs to warm the cockles by for a while.
We were fine because Andy made the smallest low profile fire in the basher.
Proper dug it down in the basher.
But he did it in
very
the basher.
neat.
So
Very
I was
neat.
trying to sleep.
Lovely.
I was trying to sleep, and I was just consistently breathing in smoke. And I was like,
Yeah,
Andy, you would not have done that.
Because it was so small, you couldn't get a
maybe 3
decent
foot
flame.
away. So if anyone's shit at building fires, it's Andy.
I feel a fire, a campfire off coming on.
I'm trying to pass the buck. I'm sorry.
Excuse me. That was my little mini fire that I had going all night.
There we go. Definitely some flamage there. Definitely some flamage.
Yeah. And that was literally a foot by foot fire in a.
It was very neat.
A hole. It was very neat, wasn't it?
It was very neat. Yes, very impressed. It was nice to go home, go out and do a hard day's work, and come home to find my better half around the fire preparing a hot brew for me.
Oh yeah,
morning, wife.
Didn't I?
What's for breakfast?
You turned up
as I come marching across the field. La 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 la. And he said, "Morning, darling," and then my son pops his head out from under the tent. Morning, Dad.
Yeah.
Get out of my bed, you little shit.
Oh, leave him alone, Lance. He was scared.
Yeah. We had our own acting school going on back at the UBG 0. Yeah, there was mummies and daddies.
It was just a family camping trip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Very silly, isn't it?
There was one moment, right, when I was asleep, and I heard the radios because they were just above me, and I woke up to like one of the teams calling on the radios. And I pulled my head out of the DOS bag, looked around, I was like, where are they? And no one was there. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. So I crawled up to the radios and I was like, hello? And they must have been like, because obviously you guys are using proper terms, you know. And I'm just like, Yeah, do that.
Yeah, where's your mummy and daddy? The child.
Yeah. Have you rung 999? Can you get your mummy or daddy to come to? I did that. My mum was decorating when we lived in Portland Bill. My mum was decorating the hallway and left me to my own devices. I was about 3 in the living room, so I was straight on the fucking blower when I. Fire engine, please. She's like, can you get your mummy for me or daddy? Like, okay, Mum, fire engine, way. Don't give me a birthday party. Fucking yeah.
Not to play top jumps on that one. I think I was quite young and managed to do the same thing, but I couldn't talk, so I was just breathing heavily down the phone, and we had a patrol car turn up because I didn't know what the heck was going on.
Of course, you were breathing heavily.
My dad changed the spring in the wheel, so I wasn't strong enough to dial.
What a nasty sod.
He was like, "You ain't ringing no one, boy," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Right. Harry said, "I was thinking of UBG as we were having fresh pasta and basil."
I have to admit,
that was
whoever
fabulous.
it was, when I took the guys from Romeo 1-2 up to their LUP, and I was walking back, and I thought, "Oh, do you know what? I'm just going to walk along the road." Was walking along the stream, and all of a sudden I got this waft of burger and onions coming down, and I went, "No, I'm not going to go up that way." Bollocks.
Well, it was just looking into the Civ Pop camp and just seeing that table all set out with all the condiments and that, and there was a lovely basil bush in the middle of it. I just thought that's quite wonderful.
Oh,
It's quite
and fairy
wonderful.
lights. They also had fairy lights.
Fairy lights up, yeah. It's all these things they gathered through all the years of being out there in the wilderness to make it homely.
Yeah.
It's nice. Oh, and you'll
It
be pleased
was
to know, Harry, that the rosemary bush which you gave Julian Banjo as a gift has been planted, and hopefully will be there for the next time to pick some herbs from and garnish them.
See, I was going to plant it before I left. Because it was the weirdest gift. Harry literally rocked up to camp and he was like, "I brought you a present," and presented me with this rosemary bush. I was like, "Thank you." I don't know what to do
me
with
and Dan,
this.
because Dan come over and give me a hand to pick a couple of bits up, and we found like a dead sort of like a tree stump sticking out of the ground. It's quite oriental looking with some green moss growing over it, and it had this little gap. So we've packed that out with some damp soil and some leaf manure, and planted the rosemary bush in there. So hopefully it's gonna be like I'll be like Miyagi over there with my little pruners, just snipping it and doing some balancing.
Oh, you should have planted it in the
sock
shoe.
tied around my head or something.
Oh,
No, I'm not going to plant rosemary in the child's shoe. No, that was odd. Have you got a picture of that? Actually, that's very yeah. Oh, that's what you call setting the scene for a survival post-apocalyptic.
I have never seen genuinely people act quite so like this was floating around the Opfall camp for quite a while, and it was found sort of quite close
quite an
by,
artistic photo.
Yeah, I must profess I did move it to get the art. If you pan out, Andy, there's a little bit of smoke in the background as well. I tried to. I basically was moving it around camp, and people kept finding it, and they'd be like, "Oh!" And I don't want to stand over there, and I'm not standing next to the ghost shoe.
Oh, Jay also planted. Oh, I did wonder because I did see the empty pot there, so I picked that up, Harry. So that's good. Oh, we've got basil and rosemary on site, growing as we speak.
Yes.
If we didn't achieve nothing else this weekend, we've achieved that, reducing our carbon emissions.
I was going to plant the rosemary myself. But I don't know anything about
Mike, we
plants.
can start promoting that now. That NoFo is carbon.
Yeah, if you want to attend it, you've got to bring a plant to put in the ground.
NoFo Green
Project.
Project.
It might be like an invasive species or whatever. We come back like 6 months later, there's just rosemary everywhere.
It's just a huge man-eating rosemary head. Like, rah, rah. No, cool.
Oh dear. Right, we're pretty much coming to the end of the show. If there are any last-minute questions or anything like that, please feel free to throw them in the chat. There was a little question from Drew about a Halloween event. So this wasn't a Halloween event. This is obviously just a generic. I say generic. It's quite specific, really. It was a sort of a post-apocalyptic event. We could do something for Halloween potentially.
I think
not a bad shout.
October is a very busy month for Airsoft.
Yeah,
this year we may struggle to find a date. I know I've got a date on Halloween with Mr. Harry Badger. Already in the book, mate. So I'll be doing something with him.
I think I'll be at Rift doing their zombie event.
There you go.
Because that's awesome.
So that's 2 out of the 4 weeks gone. Unless they're on
And
the
I'm
same weekend, of
doing
course.
something probably. So
Yeah.
Dressing up. Come and be a zombie.
I'll
mate.
just be wandering around doing fancy dress as Julian Banjo for candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should do that though. People get for trick or treaters.
Mhm.
Yeah. I've got to make use of the jacket.
I'm going to be
Mark,
Skullman.
so this was this was something that we were talking about at the event, and I did want to just briefly mention this. So we've kind of thrown around this idea of milsim. You know, we built this podcast on the premise of talking about milsim, but very few people seem to actually identify with what milsim is. We've kind of we've had
Or what
conversations
milsim
about
is
a
to you,
milsim
sort of thing.
style event. It's what milsim is to you. So what we've kind of started to throw around the idea of is a milsim scoring system. It's still very much in the air.
Have we?
We did chat about this already, Andy.
We
This
did
is
chat
not
about
a
it, Andy. Come
surprise.
on.
So the idea
Do
would
keep
be
up.
is that there is a scoring system by which any milsim organizer or battle sim organizer or whatever can use, and that will help hopefully people identify with sort of events and even factions at an event as to what they kind of perceive might be for them, in terms of, you know, I don't know. The concept of this is ultimately, if you imagine like a catalog or a magazine or something like that, and you get quizzes like which sugar baby you or something like that. This would be a kind of a similar thing. So there'd be like a series of questions for each event, and it might be like camping style. You know, are you going to be camping out in the woods? Are you going to be in tents, etc.? And then each answer will have like a score next to it, and then you will be able to roughly gauge out of the sort of the total maximum how milsim your milsim
yeah, we
is.
did talk about that spider
Yeah.
chart, sort of.
There he is. There he is.
There he is. He's on board.
Took a
There he
moment.
is.
And we're gonna play around with this because I think this is something that actually would be quite useful. We're going to be coming up with some bits and pieces to kind of put out to some other companies as well to kind of get their thoughts on it. In the hope that maybe we can kind of create this like a Scoville scale, I guess, for milsim. Or your Nando's chart for milsim. It kind of just gives you an idea of kind of where it sits or what faction kind of sits where, with additional some like summaries in terms of like maybe some grouped categories. So from a camping perspective, this is like a level 3 milsim out of 5 or something. I don't know. We're still playing around with it, but it might help people identify events that they want to go to and events they don't want to go to, depending on the different categories and bits and pieces like that. So. Yes.
But
How
the
milsim
only
is your
scary
milsim?
thing is the only scary thing is what if people actually start identifying as a milsim, like
Yes,
Why not?
for their gender now, because
Yeah.
you,
Milsim
they could be
toilets.
100% milsim.
Full Milsim.
My pronouns are op4 and ro.
Yeah.
Right. On comments wise, Stephen said on a scale of stag with no stag being 0 and stag being 5, how much stag are you prepared to be on? Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
that's a fair point.
Steve.
That's a good
Nail
question.
has been officially hit on the head, sir.
Yes. Les, once again, boys, thank you for a wicked op. Chris says Mud is
You're welcome,
great.
my man. Mud is great. Mud is your
great.
friend.
Yeah, Drew, a spice rating for events.
Mm.
Milsim is mostly beard.
Absolutely.
Terry, Mike, Reverend, Julian Banjo from Military Odyssey. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the sort of thing to rock around in public.
I'll turn some heads.
Random events. Oh yeah, this was another thing as well. I got a random radio call or a WhatsApp call or whatever from Andy. He was like, Chris has found a parcel on site which is full of alcohol. Is this in game?
Yes, that would be one of our resident bushcraft areas.
And when he said that, I was like, oh fuck. And
I
was
will be messaging said bushcrafter about this, and then I
I'm gonna
say
have
you
to
need to
flip
hide
up
your
there.
stash because it's been found and not touched, but just to make you aware.
It nearly got touched. Chris was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, can we drink this?" I was like, "No."
Yeah.
Yes. No.
That was fun.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. So that was a kind of a rundown of our Op Phoenix. Thank you to everyone who attended that event.
Absolutely, yes.
It was wicked, and you know, I think as Kenny put the point earlier that ultimately it was an event by which, you know, the more you brought to it, the more I think you got out of it. So hopefully that came across, and say the feedback is pretty good, to be fair. So definitely something we can look to do again in the future.
Well done. Well done to you, Mike. Well done, Lance.
Yeah.
Well done,
Well
Andy.
done.
Well done.
Yeah. Very good job.
Yeah.
It was,
And I know we all had fun as well. I think that's the main thing.
Absolutely.
No, that's the important thing, isn't it? That's the important
it's just
thing.
seeing other people enjoying it is what brings me. It's like when you give gifts, and I always prefer giving gifts. You know, it's
Well, you did once give me a poo chair, so
there you go. See,
and I enjoyed that this weekend.
And you missed it when you didn't have it. You left
I
it.
did.
At the
It was horrible. I left it at the bloody
and
Civ
you was
Pop
quite
camp.
upset.
I was like, no, my poo chair.
No.
They're probably pooing in it as we speak.
So rather than do closing words tonight, well, when we come around to it, I want you to come up with like the best thing from the event for yourselves. We'll just go around. So we'll all have effectively the closing words. But while you're thinking of that, if you want to get in touch with the show, you can do so on email at nofochat@hotmail.com. Our Instagram is at November_Foxtrot_NoFo, and the website is novemberfoxtrot.co.uk. If you are on the website and you're interested, we have lots of exciting forum posts. I know Lance has set up some MWS themed posts on there. There's quite a lot going on the forums, actually, in the group. So if you are interested in continuing the chat on various topics or anything like that, there's, we're starting to build like a little group of community of information and sort of knowledge sharing and the like. So feel free to jump on that. If you want to give the video a little like or a thumbs up or anything like that, or the podcast helps us beat the old algorithms and things like that. So please feel free to do that if you'd like to. If you haven't enjoyed it, that's fine. Don't give us a thumbs up.
Just hit the bell. Everyone likes the little bell. Hit the bell because apparently YouTube.
If they've got this far in the podcast, I'm sure they like it. And it's an hour and 36 minutes in.
You never know. Some people just watch these things just to tell us we're wrong.
Share, and leave us a review for Mike to read out in a very funny accent.
Still waiting for reviews.
Or any of us to read out in a funny accent, apart from Kenny, unless he's on.
Just Mike.
If I turn up.
Yeah, if he's here. If he's here early enough.
Next week, we're going to have Tony from Rift on the show. So we're going to be chatting to him about shifter riffs and riff sim and all things Rift, basically. So if you have any questions for Tony, then please feel free to get them in the comment sections on this video, or you can send them to us on our socials below, or even join us for the live show if you'd like to have a go. Ask live questions. Some of those words in the right order.
Questions live now. Us.
You get the idea. You get the idea.
Have you guys got anything else to mention before we go?
No. Just save the date for first weekend of August.
Enemy 24, baby. Ooh.
Yeah. I'd like to say thank you to Kenny for obviously running the collab with us, because obviously for those that listen to the show, we don't have the ability to deal with all the insurance and costs and things like that. And having the support from Empire was massively helpful to do the event, and we got to have a bit of freedom to do the event that we wanted to do. So I think you were fully on board, Kenny, and you really summed it up as well. With the whole, we had no arguments or anything like that. It was just like, right, we're going to crack on, we're going to do a good event. And I think that shone through. So yeah, thanks, Kenny. Basically.
Yeah, thank you, Kenny.
You're welcome.
There you go. Right.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll do some more.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, absolutely we will.
Yeah, it'll be good. What you said about the thing about our favourite thing from the event, and this is sounds cliche as hell, but I did actually notice on the Sunday morning everyone was absolutely buggered, but everyone was still so social. It was almost like we had just got there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone was in such good spirits still, and it was like no one had really slept. It was Sunday morning at 7 o'clock, and everyone's still having good banter, chatting about the events. I like the debrief at the end is everyone can go, oh, I loved when I smashed you in the. Do you know what I mean? Everyone laughing about little things that have happened. And yeah, that is always the best bit for me. Also because there's quite a lot of you can go, oh, it's over, because I'm always on edge. I was on edge the whole time, just please no one kill themselves, or do you know what I mean?
Get hurt or anything, or fall down a gully, or
So it was just nice when it was over. But yeah, it's just cool to see everybody still in such good spirits, and I like that. And everyone kind of went home thinking I've had a good fucking weekend. So
Definitely,
that was it.
100%.
Yeah. How about you, Lance?
Right, just to pick out one little moment for me, which I really enjoyed, was when the UBG actually went out in force early hours of the Sunday morning to get into our ambush position. So that, like, just seeing like the two recce teams patrolling out. Me and Andy both went out for a little bit of like back support sort of thing for them. Because unfortunately, through a little bit of sickness, we'd lost a guy. Another guy got twisted his knee slightly, so they sat out of that bit. So we sort of stepped into the breach, if you like, and just sort of like all laying up, waiting for this contact, and then like, obviously like the moon being all clouded, covered, and then it opened up and just lit everything up, and it's like there they were. Yeah, that for me, that was like one of the little moments of like, oh, this is exciting. But that's just a very sort of windowed, blinkered bit of a vast, brilliant event from my point of view. It was just, if I had that would just be a tiny little thing that I've picked out on top of many, many, many little bits and bobs, including watching 3 ducks in a pond through my thermal for 10 minutes, which I just giggled to myself. And then I realised what I was actually doing and felt quite stupid. I come around the corner and there's these 3 ducks, and they weren't full quacking. They were like the wah, 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 wah. I was just sort of like, I was looking at them and I was like, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm saying this in my head. I wasn't talking to the ducks. I wasn't that tired at that point. But it's the fact they were going wah, 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 wah. And I was going, what did you say? And I was like, whoa. Anyhow, I wasn't just doing that. I need to get back really quick. Oh, I'm very silly.
How about you, Andy?
Mine was the very end of it when we did our attack and it all started kicking off. And you still had a bit of a fire going behind you, and all we could just see was silhouettes. And then the lovely, I still don't know who it was, but the person that threw the red flare, and then we were just like, oh well, we don't need nods anymore. And it's the image that we used.
We got some pictures of that. Yeah, it was literally like dragon's breath, wasn't it?
It was.
Let's see if I think at that point we kind of got to the. I think everyone was shattered, and everyone was like, you know what, we're just gonna go out in this blaze of red glory, which was very appropriate for the event.
I mean, what an image to be like as like 2 recce teams like pushing through that. Like you got a bit of smoke, and you got the red background. It was just like, oh, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. But once that this had asked that everyone had been shot, and I was walking my way up. But beforehand, you can see how everyone was silhouetted. But it looked really like it was like that is an end of an event picture. That is
absolutely.
And when it kind of ended, everyone was like quite happy. Do you know what I mean? No one was like egging for more. They were like, we're happy with that ending.
Yeah. It ended exactly how it's supposed to end. It was really good, really, really good. But Julian Banjo slipped away, the slippery little snake.
Yeah, he left a note.
At 1 o'clock.
I'm just a slippery little snake.
Mike, that was you who did that original video, wasn't it?
No comment.
He pulls out his little hat.
So
I always had him down for the guy who comes up from the bath with bubbles on his face and goes, and then just disappears again. I always thought that was Mike, but I don't think it is.
I'm just going to try and end. I had 3 little moments, which I was sort of struggling to pick between. The first was obviously just meeting new people, which was proper wicked, because it's always good fun to meet new people and sort of hang out with. I mean, we had people on our team that had never milsing before. You know, Ross. We had people that had been 1 or 2 events. We had people that had never done any events like
exactly the same as Civ Pop, Charlotte, and that was their first time out.
Yeah,
it's like fucking hell, what a way to do it! Absolutely fantastic, great effort.
Yeah. The other thing I quite like with these sorts of events is the level of paranoia. At one point, Danny was having a chat with me. He's like, "Are you sure that we haven't got spies in the camp?" I was like, "No, we don't, Danny. You're okay. you don't have to mistrust everybody."
You should have planted the seed. I'd have let him up the garden path with that one. I was like, yeah, Just keep that under your hat, though, innit? All right. I can't tell you who. But
Yeah.
Just.
Excellent.
But my really standout moment was it was the Saturday night. I'd sort of tried to get my head down a little bit because I worked late on the Friday. No, sorry, the Friday night. I worked late on the Friday. Hadn't had a lot of sleep on the Thursday and the like as well. So I was sort of trying to get there. And then, so I had a bit of a sleep, and then I got woken up by whoever's on Stag. They were like, "Oh, there's some Civ Pop here to see you." And I woke up, and it was so cold that I'm just standing there, and I'm like, "Oh!" And then I try to have a serious conversation and sound imposing as Reverend Banjo, and I'm literally like, "Oh, hello, how are you?" I was like, I'm gonna say it out of game. I am so fucking cold right now. Because I wasn't really very with it. I was very cold, and trying to hold that together was quite challenging. So yeah, that was a bit of a standout moment for me. But, yeah, cool. On that note, we shall see you next week at 8:00 Wednesday. In the meantime,
Stay NoFo.
Stay NoFo.
Well,
say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Ciao, Bella.
See you later. Oh, and thanks, Kenny, for joining us on the show as well.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kelly. Campfire badge on its way to you, mate.
Yeah. Great gracing us with your presence.
Dinner was lovely.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful.
Right, we'll see you soon. Have a good one.
Bye.
Laters.
See you later.